Hey, welcome back to another episode of Parenting Guide, Organizing Habits Made Easy podcast. And I'm your host, Diane Jimenez. So this episode is an oldie, but still a goodie. What do I mean by that? Well, this episode is taken from a Facebook Live I did on my Facebook page back in October 2020, 7 months after the pandemic hit. By this time, we've all been pretty much stuck at home and keeping to ourselves. Lots of things were shut down and there was no kind of gathering whatsoever. And because of all of us being homebound for months, people were well into reorganizing, decluttering, and renovating their homes. They still are today, even with life getting back to some kind of normal 2 years later. And I don't think it'll stop anytime soon. This pandemic has taught us all a lot, changed us in more ways than we could ever imagine, and among many things, it also got us to look at our space a little differently. So when I created this video back in 2020, how to increase your chances of selling your items online, it was to encourage people to do something with their items they just decluttered and not just let it sit at the curb or in some corner of the house waiting for the next time they can go out and drop it off at a donation center. I think at the time, I can't even remember now, if the donation centers were even taking anything. Anyway, I wanted to encourage people to get their things moving and out of their house and make some money while doing that. With times being so uncertain, it was a way to get people excited and in control of their lives. Plus, who doesn't like to make a little money now and again? Add to that, the space you're creating in your home brings so much clarity in your mind, lifts the weight off your shoulders that you literally feel lighter, and it also feels like you're breathing a little better. Kind of like a breath of fresh air now that there's more room for air to circulate. So I grabbed the audio version of this video and edited way down to the bare minimum. All you need to know details to help you increase your chances of selling your items online. Now, just a little warning, the audio will sound as though I'm in a big room, because I am. I was filming from my kitchen, so there will be some kind of echo. But don't let that deter you from listening to this episode. The steps are very relevant still today. And this is way before getting fancy with a mic. I was all about videos and YouTube and using the mic from my phone or my laptop. So it's not 100% amazing audio-wise, like you're hearing now, but it's enough where you can grab what I'm teaching here and run with it. And I hope you are successful. Also, because it's a Facebook Live, you will hear the rustling of papers in the background. So I do apologize for that in advance. But before I get started, if you know someone who's decluttering or has done so already but doesn't know what to do with their things, or it's all just sitting there, send them a link to this episode. It might just help them get their stuff moving out of the house and more money in their pockets. My mission is to help as many parents out there get their home and life organized, one space at a time. So I appreciate you sharing this episode or any episode you find helpful, inspiring, and enlightening. And if you want to leave a beautiful review from wherever you're listening to this podcast, I'd be forever grateful to you and just might give you a shout out on a future episode. All right, without further ado, here it is. Enjoy, my friend.
Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Diane from One Tidy Place. I'm a professional home organizer here in Montreal, and I do virtual organizing. So if you don't know what that is, just head to my website, dianejimenez.com/services. All the details are written there. Okay, so before I start our jam-packed Facebook Live today, and which is about how to increase your chances of selling your items online, make sure you guys have a pen and a paper to jot the information down, because I'm going to give you details of how we do it and what has resulted from how I posted online. So how do we sell our items successfully online and increasing our chances of selling our stuff online? So I'm just going to give you a little backstory. So I'm talking about before we renovated, my kids were all under 5 and we decided to move out. I don't know if you guys know or caught the video, but there is an episode how we moved out in 1 year and downsized twice. Check that out if you're interested. I can put the details on the description. So basically during that time, we left our home, packed everything out, and ended up living at my mom's place first. And then when she downsized, we moved and ended up living at my in-laws' place. During that time, we knew that we weren't having any more kids. So we had a lot of kids items and a lot of things that we were no longer using after packing things. We noticed that we didn't need certain sets, tea sets and clothes or whatnot. So I decided, you know what, if we can do this, instead of letting things go and just bring them to like the curb and the white van picks it up, we're going to try and sell these items online. And my whole goal was to just get rid of it. I didn't want to come back with those items and unpack them and put them back here in our home. There would be no place and we wouldn't have a use for it. So we posted on Garage Sale and Kijiji. So the big ticket items like our washer and dryer were sold on Kijiji. My husband did all that. It was awesome. So he sold those for, I think it was under $900. And all in all, our sales, I think they were around the $2,000 mark. Imagine, we didn't have $2,000 before the move, and now we have $2,000. And that helped pay other things that we needed here for the house and the renovation. So it was great. Now, we didn't only stop selling items like old things, we also sold doors because we were renovating, and we heard that doors and certain items in the house were hot ticket items. We were just selling them at dirt cheap prices. So our doors were being sold at $15 a pop. We had oak doors. I think my husband took care of that one and sold it for, I don't know, $160. I'm not sure, but we had 3 oak doors that were like French window paint, and they're like from the 60s, like really beautiful. We sold our island. Our island was made up of 4 or 6 IKEA cabinets with a butcher block on top. I put it on for $300, and someone, negotiated down to $285. We said, sure, take it, and that was gone. We ended up selling our crib set, our stroller, our the Blitz thing for the baby to make puree. We sold those things. We sold the bassinets. We sold clothes. I was selling them in the bin. So I'm going to show you how the steps that I take when I'm selling something. I know it's very daunting, and I'm hearing a lot of people are doing it right now. They're getting into selling their items. Their kids are growing. They're in school right now, so parents have a little bit more time to tackle this project of selling old items. All right. Step number 1. Whenever you're selling something, you know what they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. You got to take a picture of your item. And I'm not just talking about a close-up shot. So for instance, let's say we're selling this mug. The best way is to make sure that your picture is clear, visible in the frame. It's not blurry, so hence clear, and that it's showing the item in its best possible light. So try to avoid putting this mug in a background that's very busy. If you have to, take a picture of the item on the floor and do it from top view. What I also noticed that if you have lights and you're doing from top view, sometimes you'll get your shadow on the camera. So you want to make sure that your hand or your foot or something is out of there. Another thing is if you're going to do it against the wall, or if it's a bigger item like a bed or a bed set. We sold our bed set too. You want to make sure the place is clean. Some people have seen this from back in the day. If you're going to take a picture of a bed and there's a mirror there and you see your reflection, and you don't know this, make sure you are decent, okay? Or crop it out of the picture if you see it, but make sure you edit and look at your pictures before you post it up online, because it can be disastrous. Your picture will go viral for the wrong reasons, okay? So please post the item exactly so it shows the best light without a lot of distraction. Speaking of light, you want to take your pictures with natural light, the most natural light as possible. Now, if you're doing this at night, I get it. So make sure your room is well lit, and then you're taking your picture with the best light possible and with the less shadow possible, okay? Because you don't want to give false information because of the shadow. It's creating something bigger than it is, okay? So picture's a good thing. Another idea on pictures, don't just take one angle. Maybe take a picture of the other side underneath if there's something special about that item, if it's china or if it's Limoges, I don't know what, a certain detail that you want to make sure that the potential buyer sees, you want to take a picture of that. Now I know on Garage Sale you can post several pictures there, as well as on Kijiji you can post several pictures of the same item. Next, step number 2, describe and details. What am I talking about? When I was doing this online, taking care of all of this, I figured the more details I put in, the least amount of communication and blah blah is happening back and forth on the back end, on the messaging part. Because I don't know if you know this, for you newbies out there who've never sold anything, when you do put your item online and someone says, hey, I'm interested, you end up having a separate conversation on the side on instant messaging of whatever that app provides. There's an instant messaging conversation that you have, and the less you do, sometimes it's better. So put as much detail as you can. So I'm going to go through the list of details that I have with you. First things first, measurements. Huge. If you're selling a big item, a sofa, a desk, a chair, you want to put the height, the width, the depth of this item. If you can, put the weight of something. Obviously a bed, you don't need to do that. But if it's something where someone needs to stand on it, like a workout bench, and you're selling it, if someone is over the weight limit of this, let's say the bench has a specification on it and it says no bigger than, let's say, 500 pounds, you have to put that detail there, because you never know what that next person is going to do with that. If they're going to stack up a whole God knows what, and it goes up to like 600 pounds or 1,000 pounds, and they come back to you saying, hey, you sold me a faulty item. You want to avoid that potential problem, okay? So if you can, put the weight and measurements, super important, okay? Next, texture and fabric. This is great for clothes, for coats, jackets. Is it real? Is it fake? Is it faux fur? Also there in weight too, if you have down or if versus something that's super heavy. But if you can describe that, that would be great. On some of the pictures too, you can take a close-up shot if there's some details on it that like of a material that you want to highlight, put that on the picture also. Another description you want to put, is it new or is it used? Very important. If you have something that's new, specify tags are still on it, the packaging is still available, or it's still inside its packaging. People love that when it's not new and you're getting it for dirt cheap. Hey, a bargain is a bargain. Amazing. Those are little tips and tricks that can increase your chances of selling your item. If it's used, you need to say, has it been worn once or twice, or if it's been worn like forever but it still looks good, you got to talk about the condition of the item. Is it the quality? So is it in excellent condition, like new, or fair condition? So sometimes people might want more details on that. But you do a judgment call on yourself. But that particular detail is what will prompt people to ask you more questions, and they might want to see more pics. So do the best you can in describing what the item is. But be honest about it, okay? Be honest. You might think, oh, this is great, and you're thinking, oh, it looks like new, but in reality, you really have to pull your emotions out of it and see, does it really look new? Would you buy this and say, hey, yeah, this is new? So these are questions you want to ask yourself. Like if you're selling shoes, for instance, people will want to see the shoe obviously from front, the side, the other side, and super important is taking the picture of the shoe with the sole facing up and down. So if you do say new, well, hey, this doesn't look new, all right? So you don't want to be wishy-washy and contradicting yourself with your description and the pictures. The pictures have to match the description as much as possible. Now, when it comes to packaging, so this is great if you have this online, you take a picture of the item in the package, take out the item, and you take a picture of the item individually. That would be ideal. Next, where did this item come from? What am I talking about? Is your home a pet-free and or a smoke-free home? Now, I always put this because I don't know who is allergic to what, or who prefers or not to have it smelling like something. Okay, some people are very, very sensitive to that, and it will deter them from purchasing your item because that specific detail isn't there. Maybe they have kids or older adults in the house and they're highly allergic to pet dander or cigarette smoke or whatever smoke. Okay, so you might want to put that detail in. All right, moving on. A detail that you do want to post, okay, especially if your item was used, you want to specify that there is some damage, some defect, some scratches, some nicks. And I do take pictures of them. And sometimes you'll see this too online. Someone will take a picture of a table and they'll show the nicks and scratches. Just post that there and put the detail too, used with some nicks and scratches. And this can affect your price, obviously. So if you bought something for, say, $50, well, this is not $50. Okay, common sense. Step number 3, what's the price? When I first started this, I was always like, I'm squeamish about this. I don't know. What should I do? What's the best thing to do? It all depends on your goal. Do you want to make or do you want to get rid of it? You got to let that sink in a little bit in your head. Yeah, we all want to make money. I do, okay? But you got to get real. You got to be real. And oftentimes when we're going for making money, the sale is a little bit slower. So your item is not moving as fast as you want it, and it's still in your home. If you just want to get rid of it, sometimes the sale is fast. It's quick. I've posted something. I think this is early COVID, and it was also during the time where everybody was stuck at home. I was selling some gym equipment, so I had a chin-up bar. I sold it at what, I think $20 or $15. I don't know. I just wanted to get rid of it. I had 8 people in line asking if they can buy it, and then I think within a day it was sold. Someone picked it up and it was sold. Anyways, I'll get to that later on. But depending on your pricing, it can either be slower, it can be a bit quicker. Okay, and if you want to go really, if you don't really know where to start or how to start, you can always compare retail price. Just Google it up what the price is, and then you make a judgment call on that. Or what I've done is come up with my own price. And the reason why I come up with my own price is because my goal is to get rid of it. I want all of this stuff out. If I made $5, it was $5 that I didn't have yesterday. But I have $5 today, and then $5, and then $5, and then $10 and $20, and you know what I'm saying? So all those little things, those little prices add up. But that's me. You are you, and you have to figure it out. Now, there's a thing about pricing where you want to put this detail down if you want minimal conversation, and this is me. I often put prices firm because sometimes I don't want to talk about it. You know what? It's $10. Or it's $5. You're really gonna haggle me for $1? Like, come on, but that's me. So if you don't put anything there, like you don't have to, just some people will, try to negotiate. But you do you on whatever, if you want to introduce this detail at the bottom next to the price, negotiable or firm. Obviously, it depends on the item. So if you're selling a car or if you're selling like furniture, some big ticket items, you may not want to be firm on $1,000. It's like our washer and dryer. I think we had put it up for, I don't even know. I think we were like, hey, let's just put it for $1,000 or $950 or something. And then someone bought it for under $900. We went with the first person because we didn't know when another person was going to ask about it. So this is very tricky, but it depends on what your goal is. All right. And oftentimes you have to ask yourself when it comes to pricing, would you buy this at the price that you're putting it at? Let that sink in. The second question, and this is huge, what's the big picture goal? What's the reason why you're doing this? Right now, we're in quarantine mode. Everybody's home. We start looking around. We're renovating. We're doing different things. We're organizing. We're decluttering. So we were seeing a lot of accumulation in our house. And we're seeing the difference when the place is organized, when we have exactly what we need. All this excess needs to go. So if that's your big picture goal, that will play around with the price and the descriptions and the pictures, etc. Okay, so ask yourself, would you buy this item at the price that you put? And what is your big goal? Seriously. All right, now we're almost done. Step number 4, pickup. You got to stay safe. It's everywhere. We need to stay safe. So you have 2 options here. And at the time before COVID started, so this is years ago, I would either do pick up and meet up with the person, or I'd have them pick it up at my house. But I always had safety top of mind. A lot of times, a lot of these things would be happening during the day, which is ideal for me. And I would meet up at the Starbucks in the corner. And I would even tell them, oh, I'm picking up my kids. I have to set up the date and time with that person privately and say, oh, I can meet you at Starbucks between 4 and 4:15. I have to pick up my kids at 4:30. So they know you have, you're responsible for young kids. You're not going to stay there forever. So you're creating some sort of urgency with them, and it builds a little bit more credibility on you versus like, yeah, I'll be around the corner, around the alley in the back. You want to put those details there. If you're meeting up with someone somewhere in a public place, let someone know. I would always, 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 if I had a buyer that we scheduled a time and a place and a date, I would put it on my calendar on my phone and I would sync it up to my husband's. And even that, I would even put the details, because sometimes on your profile, you have the person's name. So I would put the person's name as well on it, or any kind of information about the person. And before I meet up with the person, I also look at their profile. If they are someone who buys often, someone who communicates often, especially on garage sale, you can look at someone's profile. You don't see their face or anything, but you see their activity. You can see how many praises they've had if they've worked with other people. So that kind of helps you, kind of like eases your mind and your soul about meeting up in a public place. Now, because of COVID and everything happened, I've been leaving things at the door and kind of like, you know what, if the person takes it, what more can I do? Or I'll meet them at the door and say, okay, I'll be at my front door, and I'll see, we'll wave. Now, that's if they're meeting me at home. Again, if they're meeting me at home, I'm making sure that someone's at home with me. If no one can be at home with me, then the pickup is at the door, okay? Another detail, how the person can pick up. What I mean by this is if you have a couch or a big armoire that you're selling and someone says, okay, I can come pick it up, you need to put the detail, pick up in Montreal. And then another detail you want to put is you need 2 people to pick this up. Because it's happened, or I didn't put this detail, thank God it was okay, and the woman was really cool about it. We were both able to take the shelf together and bring it in her car. Another detail that's also important I didn't say is describe, or if you can, item fits in a car. Item needs a van. Okay, especially if it's a van or a truck, you need to specify that, because if someone shows up with a little, I don't know what, those small cars, a smart car, and they're picking up like a shelf, but the thing is actually quite big, it's kind of like not a good thing, and it completely turns the whole deal sour. So put as much details as you can if they need someone to help them pick it up, and if they need a van, because it's happened where a woman showed up to pick up the island and it was her and her 12-year-old son. And I had my husband was here to do the exchange, and he was like, I don't know what she was thinking, but she brought her 12-year-old to pick up this island. Thank God he was there and he helped the woman out, and everything was a-okay. So make sure it's safe, and make sure your pickup, that the conversation is confirmed of when, where, and how, okay? Sometimes, and here's a little bonus, I would message the person again, maybe a day before, saying, hey, see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock at Starbucks. Just a little quick one, and then they can respond back. And then the same day, sometimes I'll be like an hour before, I'm like, see you in a bit. Just letting you know, okay? Because you don't want your time wasted, and you want to make sure this sale goes on. And if I'm like getting you overwhelmed with all this information, it's normal. It'll pass after you do this a couple of times. It's like, yeah, okay. This is part of the dance, if you will, okay? And number 5, the platforms where you can sell online. So like I said, you can use now Facebook. It's great. You have Facebook Marketplace. Kijiji is amazing. Craigslist and garage sale. So these are the 3 that I've used, were Marketplace on Facebook, Kijiji, and garage sale. Craigslist I haven't used before, but I've heard people use it and it's successful. And on a lot of these platforms, you can bump up your item. So after a while, you can bump it up so that it's top on the list. Now, Kijiji, I think that's the only one where sometimes after a certain time, you'll have to re-upload all the information, all the details. So that's up to you if you want to go in that specific platform and use it. It's great. That's how we sold our washer and dryer and our doors. All the other stuff I sold through garage sale and marketplace. So those were my 3 choices. And if you guys have other ones that work for you, please let us know below in the comments so other people can enjoy this whole selling online business and make some extra cash on the side. Okay, so who doesn't like some cash on the side? Okay, so that is the conclusion of how to increase your chances of selling your stuff online. It's the steps that I took to help me successfully sell my things online.
So there you have it, the 5 steps on how to increase your chances of selling your items online. Let's do a quick recap. Number 1, pictures say 1,000 words. Good lighting is key. Don't have a busy background so that the focus is on your item. Taking pictures of different sides of your item shows you've got nothing to hide and says a lot about you as a seller. Number 2, describe and details. Including pertinent details to reduce the guesswork and lots of back and forth between you and a potential buyer not only saves you time in the long run, but again, makes your item and you as a seller stand out from the rest. You're clear, you look honest and legit. Number 3, is the price right? A good guide is to ask yourself, how much would you pay for the item you're selling? As is. Check the retail value if that helps you out too. But what is your goal? Making money or getting the stuff moved out of your house? Number 4, pickup. Always keep your safety the top priority at all times. I cannot emphasize this enough. Touchless transactions are the norm right now. And if you have to meet, let it be in a well-lit public place, or if it has to be at home, don't be alone. Have another adult with you and keep the meeting brief. Number 5, different platforms to sell online. I normally use Facebook Marketplace, Garage Sale, and Kijiji. Now, wherever you're from, there's most probably a platform that works best for you. You just gotta do a little Google search for your area and maybe ask a friend or family what they do. Please be aware that each platform has their own rules and regulations, so please read those carefully. The platform also wants to keep you safe, so use the chat in the app that you're using. Don't bring the chat into your regular email or social media chats. Okay, my friends, that was another huge episode and an important one. I'd love to know your takeaways in all of this. You know I love to hear from you and all about your organizing journey. So drop me a DM or screenshot this episode with the takeaways that stuck out to you in your Instagram stories and tag One Tidy Place. If you're feeling extra generous, leave me a review on the platform that you're listening from. I'd be forever grateful to you. Okay. Thank you so much for being here and always being so awesome. I'll see you back here next week. All right, take care, friend. Bye.